Hello and welcome to the update video for Fire of Ardor, Quest for the Soulstone version 1.2.0. My name is Carsten Pfeffer and I am the developer of Fire of Ardor, and I would like to show you the changes and new features in version 1.2. The most obvious change is that the game now has voice acting, so every character in the game has an actual voice. And the voices are available in English and German, which means that you can toggle between both languages in the options menu. In order to get an impression how this sounds, we will now first listen to some English voices and then to a German voice.
First there was a woman with a hammer and a giant axe. Then there was an old confused man. Now there's you. Strange.
Huh? Who are you?
Finally, someone found me.
Was kann ich für dich tun? Es tut mir leid, aber du hast nicht genug Gold.
When looking at the options menu, you will see that there are many new settings. For example, the keyboard mappings are now fully configurable, and the game now has controller support, so you can also adjust the controller buttons used in the game. Further, you can lock or invert the Y-look axis, depending on your habits and preferences. And there is also an option to smooth the camera movement to avoid motion sickness when doing quick turns. The renderer of the game was written particularly for the Fire of Ardor, and it's a raycaster like the first-person shooters from the early 90s used, and the old version produced an ugly fisheye effect which could also lead to dizziness and claustrophobia. This is now fixed. Also, the field of view has been increased to avoid claustrophobia inside the dungeons. And there was also a barely noticeable bug in the positioning of the sprites, which could also contribute to this feeling. This has been fixed now as well. Many places in the game have gotten more details. On the one hand side, providing the players rememberable places helps them to avoid getting lost in the dungeons. On the other hand side, the more detailed levels help the immersion to the game world. Locked doors now have a big lock on them and they indicate which keys needed to open them. For example, a golden lock requires a golden key. The hit feedback in combat has been improved. When hitting something with a sword, a small effect is shown depending on the material that was hit. For example, the effect for rats and bats is blood, wood creates small chips and so on. And if you don't like the blood, you can turn it off in the options menu. In the new version, there are also many bug fixes. There was, for example, the problem that the collision boxes of dead enemies prevented the collection of the spawned loot. Also, there was a small music bug when loading save games. The balancing of the game has been improved. Originally, it was very easy to beat the game. When collecting every item and drinking every potion, you could more or less walk through it to the end boss. I made the game a little bit harder without the enemies becoming damage sponges that take forever to be killed. Instead, the enemies are a little bit stronger, but so are you as well. This means that the game becomes more challenging without making the encounters lengthy. Also new is the story intro that is played when a new game is started. It gives some context and explains who the player is and where his motivation comes from. The meat that is spawned when rats and bats are killed can now be roasted. I suggest you play the game to find out how this works. And also, attacking enemies from behind gives you a chance to make up to triple damage. Finally, there is now also a quick save keyboard shortcut and an autosave feature that prevents you from starting all over again when you forget to save. If you die, the last save game will be loaded automatically. Besides all these things I told you about, there are many other new, smaller and bigger things, and I would like to mention two of them. One is the no clip mode I added for development purposes. It was basically a feature for myself to capture screenshots, and you can tell me in the comments below if you found out how to activate it. The other thing I wanted to mention is Johnny. Johnny is a skeleton, but he's different than the other ones, so I decided to give him a name, and he is located in front of the door to the first dungeon. And maybe you also find out what's special about him. I hope that you liked this update. If so, please like this video, download the new version of the game, it's free. Give me some feedback, I would really appreciate it. And if you like the game, please tell your friends about it, because I make this because I want people to have fun with my games. And the more people have fun with this game, the better for me. So thank you everybody for watching, and see you next time. Bye!